Good evening, everyone. Welcome to SHEMAKERS Live. Very excited to be back here again for our second episode. Happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day, as well as Happy Black History Month. Tonight, I am very excited about our guests. We're going to have a really good time talking football. Our guest tonight is Coach Jennifer King. Coach King made history last week when she was announced as the first African American woman to be a full-time coach in the NFL. She is the assistant running backs coach for the Washington football team. Coach King is not new to the game. She has a lot of experience in coaching, and she's not new to Washington. Prior to this role, she was their full-year coaching intern. She was also the offensive assistant coach at Dartmouth, the intern running backs coach at the Carolina Panthers, assistant wide receivers coach and special teams assistant, Arizona Hotshots, and the intern wide receivers coach in Carolina Panthers. Before coaching in football, King coached women's basketball. She was the head coach of Johnson & Wales University Charlotte from 2016 to 2018. And during her tenure there, she had a 37-10 record. They captured the USCAA Division II National Championship in 2018. And she was named the USCAA Division II National Coach of the Year. King was also an assistant coach on the Greensboro College women's basketball staff from 2006 to 2016. During her 10 years with the team, they went 136 to 54, winning 5 conference titles and appeared in the NCAA tournament. Now, King has been on the other side as well as a player. She was a 7-time All-American quarterback and wide receiver for the Carolina Phoenix women's tackle football team from 2006 to 2017. In 2018, she played wide receiver and defensive back for the New York Sharks women's tackle football team and captured the 2018 WFA National Championship. Most recently, King played wide receiver and safety in the district for DC Divas women's tackle football team in 2019. SHEMAKERS, welcome tonight's guest, Coach Jennifer King.
Hey. How are you, man? I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. It's good to see you. How are you feeling? It's been a busy week. When we first started talking about this, we certainly did not know. Well, you probably knew, but I did not know that this historic announcement was coming. And here we were already planning for this conversation to happen, not only during Black History Month, but on National Girls and Women's Sports Day as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you have a jam-packed day and night. So I'm glad you had a few minutes to share with SHEMAKERS here. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
A whirlwind. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. It has been a whirlwind, and I know that you have been talking football for the last week. But to start our conversation, I want to go back to Reidsville, North Carolina. I know that as you were growing up, you were involved with a lot of sports. So first, I'm curious, what was your family like that had you all interested in sports?
Yeah, it was a sports family, and coming from a small town in North Carolina, football was king, Friday night lights type of thing, and I had an older sister who also played a bunch of sports. So growing up, I was always at a game. I was always playing something in the backyard or on a team myself. So sports has just always been a huge part of my life, and football has also been a really big part of my life from a very young age.
What is your first memory of football?
Probably, 4 or 5 years old, just watching games on TV with my dad and going to games on Fridays and Saturdays. So, me and football, we go way back, but those are probably my first memories.
Mm. Was there a frustration for you because there was not um, coordinated football for young girls?
I mean, I wanted to play with the guys, when I was in middle school and, rec league, just because I was playing against them every day in the backyard and at school and doing my thing. So I wanted to just play on the team, but it didn't happen, and so that was disappointing. But then I started just playing other sports and kind of forgot about it for a while.
Mm. And what were your favorite sports? I know that you played softball and basketball growing up. Which one eclipsed football for that period of time?
Yeah, probably basketball. I played a lot more basketball, but softball was kind of my first organized sport that I played. So, it always, holds a special place in my heart. And I was also able to play it in college as well. And so it was special.
Oh, good. Was your mother also into sports?
Yeah, I mean, both of my parents like to watch. Neither really played, but they like
Mhm.
to watch, and they were, the parents at every game and always support me.
Who was the most influential person for you that actually played?
Yeah, growing up, as a young girl, it wasn't a lot of female athletes to really look at. So I was a huge Michael Jordan fan. I love Deion
Mhm.
Sanders. Those are kind of like my guys that I looked up to.
Oh, really? And what about your first coach? Was there something that you saw in your first coach that planted the seed, even though you may not have realized it at that time, for coaching?
I mean, I think I've carried something from everybody that I've played for, into kind of my coaching style now. And I've been blessed to have some great coaches along the way. So some really good role models, good leaders to take from. We always say coaches, all we do is steal stuff from each other. So that's kind of what I've done, and created my coaching style.
Mhm. So, how do you describe your coaching style?
Yeah, I mean, it's, knowledge based, making sure you're able to be a good teacher and communicate, just because those things are super important. And, also being able to just, know your stuff and be relatable to the guys. Now, I think that's one of the things that has helped me so much working in football
Mhm.
is just I can communicate with everybody. I can talk to everybody. And I'm pretty laid back, as a coach, don't get too crazy. But it's just kind of been my style.
Yeah, definitely in football, we learn that we have to get up for the next down. Can you talk to me about just your childhood experience playing football with the guys and how you entered that huddle, if you will?
Yeah, it was easy. At that age, if you can play, they don't care if you're a girl or not. So I was always one of the first people picked, or the captain, picking the teams. And man, I had a ball. And where I'm from, football is huge. So it was
Hmm.
tackle from like age 5. So we never played 2-hand touch or anything like that. It was always just kind of wide open.
Oh, so you started with tackle, Jennifer.
Right. Yeah, I didn't start playing flag football until I was an adult. So
How was that transition?
yeah, it's still in process. I mean, it's something I'm still working on. It's hard to turn off playing your whole life tackle, and then all of a sudden there's flags. So, I'm working
Right.
on it.
You're getting a lot of penalties.
Yeah, not too many, but it's definitely hard.
So as you continue to play sports throughout high school, when did your eye really turned back to football?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it ever really left. I was
Mhm.
always involved in football and going to games in college, and um, I think it was always there. And then after I graduated, I had opportunity to start working with some middle school and high school teams, which really just fed into it. And I was still obviously coaching basketball as a way to pay my bills and feed myself. But I loved, being able to play football too.
And I remember us talking about you having the end game as coaching in the NFL, but since there were not opportunities, you decided to develop your skills in coaching, going to coach basketball. Where did that thought come from? Was it through mentors who provided some guidance there?
No, it's kind of on me. I've always been one of those people. Whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to try to be the best at it. And I was happy coaching basketball. Things were going really well. We were winning. I was
Yeah.
successful. And when I got that opportunity to coach football at a higher level, at a professional level, it was just a decision that I had to make. And I mean,
Mhm.
obviously that was the the biggest decision probably in my life at that time was, walking away from a super comfortable position and coaching
Right.
basketball and, on a great trajectory to get wherever I wanted to be in basketball, and then essentially went back to the bottom of the totem pole in football.
Yeah. Now, you have balanced a lot of balls at one time between coaching and playing, mentoring. How have you managed these different roles?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been this way. Like growing up, I always played multiple sports, and I always had just multiple jobs and just random things. I've always had a lot on my plate, so I don't really think it's anything new now, or when I was in this process of getting here to have a lot going on, just because that was what I was always used to.
Mhm. Do you have any tips or tools that you use to help manage time that you could share with our audience?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of, kind of prioritizing things, and, you can only really do one thing well at one time. So there's no need to be all over the place trying to do multiple things. Kind of finish what's in front of you and then move on to the next task.
Yeah, yeah. That is really, really important, especially now when we are inundated with so much news and information. We can get into a lot of things, but prioritizing is key. And what are your priorities?
Yeah, I mean, it's, making the running backs room better, making myself better. That's always our priorities. Can we be better
Mhm.
next season? Once you get to this level, it's 24/7. So it's
Yeah.
always, how can we be better? How can I be better?
Hmm. So, how are you going to approach this off season?
I'm excited. I think we have a really good group coming back. So, watching a lot of tape, seeing how we can improve from last year, and we'll start some evaluation processes soon, and just kind of go from there. How time flies. The season will be back
It does.
before you realize it.
Hmm. When you look at where the Washington football team's offense was last year, and now that you are going to be working directly and focused on the running backs, what are some key areas that you want to improve the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for our running back room was just, gaining more experience. We had a very young room last year, so it's just everyone has another year under their belts, and some
Mhm.
people have their first off season, so it's exciting to see what leaps they'll make, in this off season, and what type of conditioning and things they're going to come back with.
Mhm. Now, you have definitely been comfortable playing the game with men and working with men. But what advice do you have for women who are entering spaces where they are one of the few, or perhaps the only woman working in that on the team?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing for women in this situation is know what you're getting into, and it's so
Mhm.
important to really have that mindset that I'm gonna be so good that they can't deny me. No matter what I do, they can't deny me because my work is so good, and that's kind of how I went in this situation, and then just to have that level of confidence that you belong there. It's not something that just happened. You put the work in to get there. Really just go in, with your head high, your chest out.
Mhm. Going back to your participation in the NFL Women's Forum and connecting with Coach Ron Rivera, what was that introduction like? I know you're confident, have the end game in mind, but what was that approach like?
Yeah, it was interesting because at that time I was a head coach at Johnson Wells University in Charlotte, coaching basketball. Life was good, and the Panthers facility was literally like next door to my office, so I would see them all the time. The door I went into our building was probably 20 feet away from like the fence separating their practice field. So when I met him in Florida, my main objective was to introduce myself, let him know what I wanted to do, and most importantly, where I was. So, just
Mhm.
how the proximity of it all. So, I was able to do all those things, and we started building a really good relationship.
And how would you advise other young ladies who are interested in a career, specifically in the NFL, on making that introduction for themselves?
Yeah, I think it's so important to know what you want to do. So many times I get people oh, I want to work in sport, oh, I want to work in football. And there are a million jobs within sport or within football. So it's really important to kind of narrow down your focus on what you want to do, and then start reaching out to people for just advice or maybe situations or opportunities. And the biggest thing for me is don't turn down opportunities. Just because it's not paid or whatever, because you literally never know what one opportunity can lead to. When I first went to the Panthers, I thought I was going to be there for 2 days, and I was happy. And I went in with that mentality that I was going to work and show them, and I ended up being there for 4 months. So, it's so important just to take opportunities that present themselves.
Yes. It reminds me of something you've said before about just getting your foot in the door and making an impact.
Mhm.
And can you talk about strategies that you have to nurture relationships?
Yeah, it's so important to continue to grow, continue to build. So one thing that I did last season was just reach out to people kind of randomly, just send them emails, and I mean it didn't matter if they didn't respond. I just wanted to kind of introduce myself, let them know who I was, and surprisingly everybody responded. Everyone hit me back and just kind of talking, and we built a relationship. And there was some really important coaches in this business I was able to connect with just from doing that.
Mhm, mhm. And how are you channeling, although you do not like this word right now, being a trailblazer?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is right now. I think obviously there's a certain magnitude to my position and what has happened over the past few weeks. But I really feel like it's something like maybe 10 years, 20 years from now, I can look back on it and realize how big it is. Right now, I'm just trying to, be a better coach and make sure we're good next year. So I'm just super in the moment and just trying to improve.
Yeah, I guess it probably feels a little surreal just thinking about other trailblazers, excuse me, that we have read about. Certainly when we think about sports, Billie Jean King. I guess that's a really good last name to have. Comes to mind. FloJo for me, admired her, but now to be among those legends who were the first. I know has to be humbling and also make you so proud. Could you have imagined it happening this way?
Yeah, it's extremely humbling just to see some of the names or some of the pictures that I've been put together with. I almost have that like I don't belong in this picture. The people I see. So that I mean, it's been insane to see some of those things. But I guess that just kind of reiterates the magnitude of what's happening.
Was there ever a time you've been in spaces where you were the only woman? Was there ever a time where you felt like I do not belong at this table, but you powered through?
No, I think like I said, I went in with that mentality that I belong there. So
Mm-hmm.
that never happened. Sometimes, how did I get here comes to mind. Just
Gotcha.
you're now in the NFL, for the national anthem of a playoff game, and you look across the field, there's Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the other sideline. It's one of those, how did I get here? This is insane. I'm here, in the moment,
Right.
and I think that's been the biggest thing. And I've also worked with a great group of guys. I work with a great group down there in DC. So that's also helped a lot. Such a great group of coaches.
Hmm. And what would you say to young ladies who have the desire but may not be feeling as confident in walking into those spaces? I mean, confident in their talent, but feeling intimidated walking into a room, like you said, where there is Matt Millen or there is Tom Brady or John Madden. I remember meeting Madden. It was like, this is Madden from Madden the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, really, my biggest advice, and you know, you have to find a way. Like in this sports business, the weak get eaten. So even if you're
Mhm.
nervous or you can't find that confidence, you better fake it. Until it comes natural to you. Just because you just never know what opportunities are going to do for you, and the chance to meet people or to get into a situation. Fake it till you make it if you have to, but you have to have a level of confidence and some tough skin if things happen that you're okay with, and just to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. So a big game is coming up this weekend. It's the Super Bowl, and would love to get your thoughts on Tampa Bay and what you learned coaching against them a few weeks ago.
Yeah, they're really good. I think they started peaking at the right time. They struggled a little bit earlier, but they've been rolling the past few weeks of the regular season, obviously in the playoffs. Great offense. Their weapons all over the field. Their defense is really good. They send a lot of pressure, so I think that could be one of the X factors of the game Sunday is how much pressure can they generate on home.
After studying them and preparing for the NFC wildcard game, once you were in the game, was there anything in particular that surprised you?
No, I mean, they were as good as we thought they would be, and I think we came out in battle just like we thought we would. So I was super happy with how our team battled and handled adversity, and we kept swinging the whole game. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. And what would you say that the Chiefs have to look out for,
Yeah, I mean,
especially on that defense? I know you study
yeah,
them a lot,
yeah.
coaching the other side.
Yeah, I talked about the pressure. Their blitz packages are going to be huge. Can they pick up the pressure? I know earlier in the season when they played, it was not a lot of pressure, but I anticipate being a lot more Sunday.
Yeah. And going to the other side of the line of scrimmage, what do the Bucks need to look out for from the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs obviously they're seasoned vets as well, being the defending champion. So that the moment's not too big for them. You don't have to worry about those early game jitters or anything like that. So they're gonna come out fired up, and with their offense, you have to find a way to get stops, or you'll find yourself down, multiple
Mhm.
touchdowns quickly, against them.
Yeah. And speaking of analyzing opponents, how do you get to work on putting together your playbook?
Yeah, I mean, each week, you kind of start over for your new opponent, and there's a lot of preparation that goes into making the NFL game plan and being prepared for Sundays. So, we work 14, 15 hours, a day in season trying to make sure we're good to go for our opponent. And there's so much to study in the NFL just because everyone's so good and the coaches are so good. You have to be prepared for everything, and you already know you're going to get stuff that you're not prepared for. But how you handle it sometimes determines who wins the game.
And how has coaching football, tackle football, been different than your other coaching experiences?
It's just the level of play. I work with professionals now, so they're the elite of the elite. Doesn't get any
Mhm.
better when it comes to football than the guys that I get to work with. So, just their preparation, their standard of how they do things, the standard of play on the field. I think those are probably the biggest differences.
And for you, how does that make your coaching style different?
Yeah, you have to be better because you're now coaching better athletes as well. And I was always learned that you don't rise to the occasion. You kind of fall back to your training. So it's important to be prepared and to be ready to match their elite level in your coaching as well.
Mhm. Good. And with that, what are you expecting from the backfield this year in Washington?
I think it's going to be exciting. We showed some really good things this past season. We're deep. Got guys, a lot of guys that can play. Obviously, we have a rookie coming off this rookie season who I think is going to come back really good. So I'm excited for our room. I think we're going to do really good things in next season.
Yes. Well, I know that you will do an incredible job. Congratulations again. This is really exciting. Have been following you and looking forward to see what you're going to do next on the gridiron.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate it.
what about off of the gridiron? No, it is busy and you're going to be working hard this off season, but what are you thinking about off the gridiron?
Yeah, I mean, obviously due to the pandemic, which has been a hater, you can't really do anything that you want to do. So, I mean, I just kind of been hanging out, playing some video games. Hopefully, before we actually start the season in like July, I'll be able to get away and go somewhere just to hang out for a little bit. But We've had some downtime, some time off, but yeah, I haven't really been able to do things like I would normally probably do in off season.
What's your favorite video game?
Probably the Call of Duty series. I play a lot of that.
Good. Are you working with youth or having any camps or anything this summer, specifically for young girls?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned it. I just set up my business. I just kind of got everything done. It's called the King Group, and the goal of this is to be able to set up camps and events for children, for young girls. So we're just getting off the ground, but hopefully by next year we'll be rolling and be able to have our first camp.
Oh, nice. Are you thinking North Carolina and the Washington, D.C. area?
Yeah, I haven't thought that far ahead. I know I definitely want to do something back home just for the kids. In a small town, I just want to expose them to as much as possible. Small town mentality, just to kind of get them out of that and show them some of the world. So we'll see what
Mhm.
happens.
Definitely. Now, you seem like you have just been a sponge, Jennifer, and learning and soaking up good information from your mentors. Can you share in particular, once you met Coach Rivera, how you nurtured that relationship and what that mentor-mentee relationship is like now?
Yeah, I mean, I can't thank him enough for obviously the opportunity he gave me. We just built a really organic relationship, and he's been, the biggest person in my corner my whole career now. And I've been coaching in football, and something he told me very early was just to stay ready. And, I really took that to heart and started preparing and being ready because you never know. I think almost every job I've had just kind of just come out of the blue. So, but I was always prepared for it just because of what he told me. And it was no different when I first came to DC. I was kind of done at Dartmouth and figuring out what was next, and he gave me a call. So I had to be prepared, and I was moving up to DC about 2 weeks later. So just be prepared. And, he has a great relationship with me and the other coaches on staff as well. He's just a great leader.
Oh, that's great. And in addition to that, what have you learned from him?
Just how he works, how he goes about his business. We have fun, but we work really hard at the same time. And I think he's a great model of being balanced as a coach, as far as caring about your players, caring about your staff, but also getting the job done at the same time. So I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from him is just how to manage a team.
Yeah. The Washington football team has had a lot of change and transitions over the last 9 months, and we know the environment that they allegedly had as it relates to women. Were there any were there any apprehensions you had about going to that organization?
Not at all. It's just because I knew Coach Rivera, the
Yeah.
type of man that he was, and his goal and his vision that he had for the organization. I wanted to be a part of it just because I know the environment was gonna, how it was gonna be, and I totally believe in him and what he wants to get done. It's easy.
Yes, between you, Rivera, Martin Mayhew, definitely some good things happening in Washington. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this new regime is going to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it should be really, really good and some very exciting times. Now, Coach King, we have some SHEMAKERS in the huddle with us, and they have submitted questions. So I'd like to go ahead and get their questions in for you.
All right.
My name is Shania Richards. I'm watching from West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm studying sports medicine at Kaiser University while running track and cross country. My question is, what are some obstacles you've had to overcome when working in a male-dominated field? My name is Shania.
Good question. I think the biggest obstacle is the kind of elephant in the room that you're the only female there, and I think once you get past that, it's just another job, and it's something I get that question a lot, and it's something that I think I've been in football long enough now that I don't even think about it. Like I don't even pretty much every day I'm the only female, around. and I don't even think about it just because it's been that way for a while now. And we have great women within the organization, but just on the football side, I'm pretty much the only one. So it's not a real obstacle. It's just getting your mind prepared for it, and once you get used to it, I don't really think it's an obstacle at all. So, and I've been fortunate to work with great coaches, so that helps a lot. I think obviously the guys I've worked with could have made it a lot harder or difficult, but I've always worked with great guys. So, it's been really cool for me. I'm fortunate not to really have a lot of hurdles and obstacles in my job.
Hi, my name's Shalon, and I have 2 questions for you. My first question is, how can you display leadership on a team? My second question is, what is it like being a female coach?
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear the question. Can you repeat the question for me?
I think she said, can you talk can you talk about how someone can be a leader on the team? And then she asked, what is it like being a female coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think all those kind of go together. It's so important as we grow as women to kind of develop our leadership style. There's a bunch of leadership styles that work. Find what works for you, and be that leader and hone those skills. So when you get in front of the room or when you get an opportunity, you can use those leadership skills and show those leadership skills. And I think I was lucky enough to develop those early in my coaching career, and kind of have carried them all along, and it's worked for me. So find what works for you, but you have to develop some type of leadership skill if you want to be in a room sometimes where people don't feel you belong. So it's important to have that confidence to go along with your leadership.
Hi, Coach King. This is Lee in Lawrenceville. My question is, in your opinion, who is the greatest running back of all time, and who is the best running back that you've ever had the opportunity to see play in person?
Wow, put me on the spot. I think the greatest running back of all time. That's a tough question. There's been some amazing running backs. I'll just go with Walter Payton just because of what he did for the game, and he kind of revolutionized things how he ran the football. And the greatest back I've seen in person was a guy actually I had a chance to work with in Carolina with Christian McCaffrey. Just seeing his work ethic, seeing how he approached practice every single day. He's a real pro. But I mean, I had a chance to work with Adrian Peterson also earlier in the season. So I've just been lucky, to work with some great guys. But I'll go with Christian on that answer.
Cool, thank you. And now we have a few more questions and comments coming in from the chat. The first one is from Shanta McMullen in Detroit. And her question is, how did you respond to people who tried to discourage you from playing football?
Yeah, I think, I've always had a strong circle around me. I come from a family that has supported me no matter what I've done. So I didn't really have people say anything about me playing football. It was more like when are the games, so we can come see you play. But yeah, I didn't have any of that. And as a coach, I've heard there's people talking crazy in the comments, but I learned a long time ago, don't read the comments. And, it doesn't matter to me as long as the people in the building where I work are cool with the work I'm doing. It doesn't matter. So, and we really don't listen to the outside voices. They don't matter.
Our next question is from Georgia Moss in Muskegon, Michigan. Are you an entrepreneur?
At the moment, no. This is the first time I've only had one job like my whole life. But I do look forward to some business ventures in the future. So I'm kind of excited about being able to do some things. Not sure what yet, but I'm like I said, I'm used to being busy, so I'm sure I'll put something else on my plate soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we wrap up, Coach King, I want to hit on just the power and influence of sports. One of the reasons I started SHEMAKERS is because I saw firsthand how large sporting events such as the Olympics and Super Bowl brought diverse people together and created awareness around social issues. I know that you have a police background, so I'd like to get your thoughts on just police brutality and how the NFL can help combat that.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is something that I'm kind of passionate about is just, the training of police officers. And, everyone's training is not the same. And that's why we see different police officers in different places reacting differently to similar things because everyone's trained differently. It's not a standard approach. So, when I worked, I was so lucky to work for an awesome department. We went well beyond our required training, by the state. So sometimes I see things and it's like I can't believe they did this just because there's other, maybe methods they could use at the time. And I think it's important for our guys to really use their platform to help those things because I think the issue of police kind of goes both ways. You can't just always blame the police for stuff, but everyone has to do better, and I hope our guys can use their platform. They have the means to help police train or to help communities be better as well. So I think that that match has been lit now for athletes to start doing things. So it's really exciting to see them use their platform for those things.
Well, no pressure, but considering you do have experience on, we'll say, both sides of that line of scrimmage, I certainly can see you helping in that area and look forward to seeing good work there as well.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, I know that you are off to another conversation. I feel like we could have another show just talking about how you got involved with police and what that experience was like. You have never shied away from the tough battles and have been very comfortable in being in places where you are, either one of a few or the only. I commend you for that and thank you for the example that you are setting for young girls and boys all across the nation and world.
Thank you.
So
That's nice.
we look forward to seeing great things for you and having you back here on SHEMAKERS. So before I let you go, just 3 statements that I'd like you to complete.
Okay.
The first one is, the movie about my life will be titled.
Oh my goodness. That's like the hardest question I've ever gotten in my life. Let's see. How about like just champion? I love to win, so we'll keep it short and sweet.
Champion. I like it. I like it. I know that I have accomplished my goal when the New York Times says this about Coach Jennifer King.
The first Black woman to win a Super Bowl. I'll take that.
Yes, love it. My high school teacher, my favorite high school teacher, is now saying this about me.
Yeah, I've actually gotten a lot of messages and things from my old teachers. So they're all saying really good things. They're all super proud of me, and it's good to hear from them. I'm appreciative of it.
Yes. Well, I guess I'm going to rephrase that last one for you.
Oh.
The first boy that I tackled playing football is saying this.
Oh, they're probably like, yeah, she always had it. She was always pretty good.
Well, thank you again, Jennifer. Nice to see you and nice to talk to you. Look forward to working with you in the future. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you, too.
Yeah. And SHEMAKERS, you all can get in the huddle with us. Please send us your show ideas. There are opportunities to promote on our show, partner with us on events, as well as conduct training. Do not just join us on Wednesdays. Stay connected with us throughout the week. We are where you are at Heels and Helmets on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Be sure to share your thoughts about SHEMAKERS and tonight's guest, Coach Jennifer King. Wow, what a great evening. Happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day and Black History Month again. I hope you all had a lot of fun hearing from Jennifer. What an incredible young lady. I'm so proud of everything that she is doing. I hope that you all got some good notes for your playbook, and know that you are a SHEMAKER, and I am here to help you get to the end zone and win. Until next week, have a great week. Thank you for watching.